All right, everybody, and just like that, we've got ourselves a level 51 priest. We are ready to get 20% LA resistance and go ahead and try to move on. Also got level 51 on both of our other characters and some items. We can talk about whatever we got. Okay, basically nothing interesting whatsoever. Wow, that's probably the worst item haul I've ever seen checking on some items. Amber Gem is actually potentially a little bit useful here, but that's it. So we don't really need to talk about any of this other stuff. It is time for what I assume is going to be the main progression of day 5 or wherever we're at now. All right, here we go. The Burning Ravine, stage 3-6. I think I've got everything basically set up. Oh, still got a couple of random attack points. Okay, I'll really quickly a couple things here. 2, 3 points there. Get rid of those, and then we're good to go. All right, everything should be set up. We've got our priest set to keep our DPS up, plus healing, and we've now got the what did we have this set up to? Was it healing and I can't even remember now. How did we get so far past this? Let's try this again. All right, here we go. We are in stage 3-6. I'm trying to remember how the priest was set up that last time. I'm not sure if I can even totally remember, but hopefully I've recreated it. I've got the priest. Maybe I might have to go back and check my own video. I've got my priest set on to heal and blessing of might. I remember needing the blessing of might, and I'm pretty sure we did heal as well. Got all the HP nodes, all the damage absorption, and then the only question really is skill heal enhancement versus cooldown reduction for our heal. And then we've got the right amount of damage absorption. I think 9 out of 10 is where we hit the sweet spot. Another huge amount of max HP. We don't really need... You know, block chance, we could actually try block chance. Plus 3%. That'll give us 30%, so that'd be like, what, like maybe a third of the damage would be block? Maybe we'll try that in a little bit. And then we've got our all elemental resistance plus 20. So if we take a detailed look at our elemental resistance, yep, there it is. Fire resistance 24, up from 4. So I'm hopeful that some kind of setup now here at this point is going to get us where we need to get to. And if not this, then surely we'll be able to get there with one more level up, surely. Let's see how much that's going to be. Oh my gosh, 100 million. It was 80 million, I think, on the last one. So the levels are going to start, if we can't get past these zones, the levels are going to start getting a little challenging. But I think with that amount of HP, yeah, there is a little bit of a question again. Yeah, no, I think the healing efficiency is probably going to be better than the cooldown reduction. 15 HP. Yeah, I think this is basically where we want to be. We've got 2.5 million gold we can also spend to actually power our characters up a little bit. Let's go ahead and do a little inventory management here while we're going through here, but actually let's watch and see. Okay, I think we're doing better than ever, which is unsurprising because it seems like this zone is basically like all about the fire damage. Like everything is basically doing huge amounts of fire damage, and I believe at this point we are farther than we have ever been before. So let's go ahead and watch what's happening here. It's good to kind of pay attention to see and understand what I could potentially do to actually get past the zone if I can't get past it. Okay, we've got a full HP priest. So yep, that 1 point, plus a bunch of other points, all of that max HP is actually helping a lot, because there's those random times where the priest will just suddenly get bursted down by a huge damage burst, and having that larger max HP pool is turning out to actually be pretty important. Obviously, if level 52 gives us another 20% LA res, then, you know, it's just game over at that point. But things are looking good here that this will be our final bout of progression. I may zoom in every once in a while on the stages just to kind of watch. I've been doing that so far, but I think after we beat Nightmare difficulty, I think we'll go ahead and start going into some efficiency mode at that point, where we'll kind of always maintain this sort of bigger screen. Maybe I can get some feedback from folks in the comments if there's anybody hanging out long in these videos. Okay, the priest is going to need a heal here. Got all the way down to health, down to half. Okay, 235. Nice heal. Big burst of damage, but again, should get a heal again at the start of the next pack. There it is. Oh, wait a second. Yeah, okay, no, I was going to say the sorcerer's still putting out that snake, right? I did change that. All right, here we go. it's looking like this is, wow, we are finally past. This was another stage that, God, took like about a day, I think, to get past this stage. That was nuts. All right, here's the boss. The bosses usually go down super quick and easy, and this one did as well. 2:36 seconds, actually pretty quick, I feel like. Okay, Plains of Torment, stage 3-7. I'm not going to be surprised at all if this one could potentially be somewhat tough as well. Okay, we're back to the dragons. I don't think we had... Yeah, we didn't have dragons on the last one. Oof, man, Priest already down to half health. But then immediately heals back up as soon as we get to the start of that pack. It may be good to fiddle around with that cooldown time to basically just kind of make sure that it's hitting on time. Oof, look at that. Oh, man, so scary. Oh, okay, got to heal there. And you can actually see how long it takes for the heal. I think... Ooh, oh no. Oh, gosh. Oh, no. Oh, this is going to be so close. We may have to just... Ah, gosh. Again. Come on. Man, I would love some fire resistance. That's kind of my one little maybe kind of mini complaint is not getting access to more fire resistance. Why don't let's try 10 block chance here. Let's fiddle around with some points to try some block chance. We saw basically about where we got to, about to the end of the menu tab. I'll fiddle around with a couple points, see if we can get past this and pick it back up if I can find a good configuration here. Alrighty, well, it looks like I finally found my setup after trying about, God, I don't know, 5 to 10 different potential variants, all of which dying. Pretty crazy how many different kind of combos there are and how ridiculously significant of a difference, and how you would not necessarily, I think I was like 99% sure no matter what I did, I would have to use the Blessing of Might to boost all my party members' DPS by 100%, but that's not the one that got me the farthest. The one that got me the farthest is heal. It's basically has to be heal because we've got to spend those points on that first bar. And Sanctuary, if we could get Sanctuary to work, technically it'd be better, but then you've moved 5 over to here. You're basically wasting 2 points here, and it basically screws everything up. But kind of. I mean, I don't know. I guess it would be technically just 2 wasted. Well, anyway, whenever I tried to set it up, it didn't work, so we'll just leave it at that. And so it ended up being self-heal and the full resistance. This zone just needed so much resistance, and what's really carrying me, to be honest, is how the ridiculous amount of damage my Ranger's doing. And another switch I had to make is, in order to get it to work where I don't boost the damage, I had to go back to Rapid Fire. Rapid Fire just shells out such unbelievable damage, basically guaranteeing that those front monsters are just constantly dying. And then, of course, you've got your mage that is always fireballing to add just a little bit, but not really that much, to be honest. The sorcerer has totally fallen off, but the ranger is just so strong, just totally carrying all the damage. And then aside from that, of course, on the priest, then we just took, basically every other possible node that makes sense, which is all of the max HP, all of the damage absorptions we can get. These armors, you just have to fill a couple more points to move on, and then increased heal for sure. Because the thing about cooldown reduction, it's only gonna be 20% cooldown reduction. So you'll basically get to cast about, what is that, like 25% more often, something along those lines. This is 70% more healing. So way better. We got our full 9 damage absorption, which gets us to breakpoint, as much max HP as we can get. And then of course we had to do that Blessing of Warding to get past the zone. And then we've got that all elemental resistance enhancement, which is what allows us to get through the zone. And look at that. All right. Oh boy, we got one huge kind of scary pack before we get to the boss. And one thing I was thinking, when we get to this boss, I'm tiny bit worried here because our DPS has been basically halved. I am ever so slightly worried that we could actually potentially maybe die to the boss. And what I'm thinking actually when we get to the bosses basically never deal elemental damage. If the boss doesn't deal any elemental damage, what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to, I wonder if this will actually work, unallocate. What I can do is I can unallocate really quickly, unallocate elemental resistance, unallocate the Blessing of Warding if I needed to, and then get that back. Ooh, okay, we've got, it looks like, all right, stage 3-8. All right, the Citadel of Ruin. I'm going to assume that since that last one went so darn smoothly, I'm going to have to go ahead and take a guess and assume this one's going to go similarly smoothly. We're taking cold damage now, and and fire damage. 27 fire damage and 50 cold damage. I wouldn't be surprised at all if those monsters actually deal the same amount of damage, but since we have no extra cold res, we're taking the full 50, and I'll bet you those other monsters probably deal 50 by default. So it's getting sketchy, and now fortunately, we actually have plenty. It looks like most of the monsters here are dealing cold damage. We've actually got plenty of... Oh boy. Oh no. Ah, there goes the priest. There goes the priest. You know what? To heck with the experience. Let's do a little level 50 zone farming. We were able to get through this zone smoothly enough. It's the farthest zone we've got to. I'm not going crazy today with this. Slow and steady wins the race. We're gonna be able to get to level 52, I'm sure. So let's farm up a little bit of level 50 gear for fun here. Oh boy, the cold damage. So I actually, fortunately, if we look in our stash, we do actually have these minor sapphires. I've got quite a few of them. If we look back here, I've got 4 minor sapphires. These do give us... Oh, no, they don't give us any cold resistance. I thought I do have a sapphire here, which gives 15 to 20% cold resistance. We'll probably end up using that. I think I only have one. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've only got one of those. Okay, I'm really surprised this minor sapphire doesn't give you cold resistance. So that may be enough to get us there, depending. I could actually potentially... yeah, I have to kind of think. I've actually got a new piece of armor that was level 40. I think maybe I equip this new armor and go ahead and throw that cold res on there and like a damage reduction and see if maybe that's enough to get me there. We'll have to see, but oh man, it's not going to be easy. So we'll hang out here for a little bit. Let's farm a little level 50 gear. We're getting our first level 50 gear. 6,000 gold for a common and 5,000 gold for some gloves. And let's see if we get anything from the stage boss. Ooh, oh, okay, a void iron. Ooh, I think we can actually get an accessory from that. And if that's the case, I think we will just go ahead and probably do that. Although we could wait for the next, okay, level 40 to 50. But you know what? I think these accessories... Oh, okay, no, it's the wrong type. Let's see about this, what this helm does. 175 armor and 55 max HP. Not going to be quite good enough since it doesn't have any decoration slots, but still pretty solid. All right, so we will take a break for a while. We will farm this zone up for a while, see if we can get a little bit of some level 50 gear to maybe actually help us progress a little bit. You know, another thing we could try, since we're not taking so much fire damage, why don't I start experimenting with this new level 40 chest? It's going to be a pretty big max HP buff and HP regen per second. And since there didn't seem to be that much fire, let's try one more time on 3.8. Anyway, I'll start testing a little bit, then I'll just take a break and farm 3.7 with that chest if I need to. And real quick note, I was right. It is 50 cold damage and 50 fire. There's 50 cold damage you can see, and there's 50 fire damage. And it looks like there's more cold guys than fire guys, so I think this strategy may actually potentially work. Or we could hope to get some level 50 armor drop, which I think is what I will do. See if we can get some level 50 armor drop that might be good enough to get a significant bump, and then keep the fire res and that cold res, and maybe see if that can get us through. Or again, just with this new legendary armor, maybe it'll be enough. All right, we'll see. I'll keep testing, and we'll see if I can get a little further. I'll start recording again and try to get all the way. It doesn't, yeah, oof. Too many, yeah, so it looks like it's too much cold damage. So it looks like we are gonna probably have no choice but to spend that final cold resistance stuff we've got lingering around now. So I'll play with it. We'll farm up 3.7 with the last chest, give it a little time, see if we get any interesting drops, sort out the inventory, and come back in a little bit. We have got officially our new farming zone. Our new farming zone, no matter what going forward, is going to be 3.7 or greater, it turns out. When I gauged the XP, it was actually 36 million per hour. So it's been, you know, maybe about an hour. We're not getting much loot because of how slow it is. You know, it's half the DPS. The speed's not great. But if you think about that, 36 times 2, 70. So basically, we'll check in about 2 hours. We'll get another level. Finally start getting some level 50. Okay, bronze ingot. Oh, I think that allows us to actually potentially craft an accessory, if I remember right. We're still getting some level 40s, but here we go. Level 50 uncommon, which we're not going to use. Level 50 common, which we're just going to sell also. And then look at that, mystic boots. 100 armor plus 105 armor requires level 50. So the level 50 stuff is coming in. A fate helmet, armor 175 and max HP plus 55. So it has officially begun. The levels have still slowed down quite a bit, but I think that's okay because I feel like we're already kind of getting pretty close to end game within a day or two, and you know that's totally fine. I'm fine with the game not just, you know, getting straight to end game just immediately. I'm all right stretching out just a little bit and having a few more challenges along the way, and having it take a little bit to enjoy kind of the final, you know, mid to late game, because again, when we look at the levels, it stops at 70. So I'm gonna go ahead and call 70 end game. I don't know what everybody else considers, but I'm fine with it. Level 70 is end game, so we're already pretty close. You know, 3 hours per level, even still at level 51, means that in just a few days we'll already be around level 60, where we're almost there already, and we probably will start getting level 70 gear not long after that, and it may go a lot faster once we get this next big progression in once again. All right, it has been quite a while. As you can see, I've got level 52 on my priest as well as both of my other characters, and you know what that means. I haven't changed a single thing about the team composition. Let's see what we get. Okay, yeah, it looks like it should be just a straight up plus 20 per point, which means surely this stage 3-8 is going to be doable now. Let's go ahead and watch it for a minute here before we go through. Oh my gosh. Look at that. It's only... the spells are down to 7. They were doing like... Okay, those are down to 31. So the blues were doing 50. Now down to 31. Not even anything. So it is time to start making some progress. I have a feeling Act 3 is basically going to be in the books at this point. And so, as always, I will leave my full progression on the screen, but may not necessarily zoom in as close on this one. I don't think it'll be as interesting. We got a pretty good idea of what happened on this stage, so maybe we'll go ahead and just let that kind of tick forward and kind of watch from the corner of my eye as I get to go through my first batch of level 50 plus zone loot. Let's see what we've got. We got a bunch of commons, level 50, level 50, level 50 void staff for sorcerer. Okay, that's pretty cool. Possibly first pair of level 50 rare gloves. I can't remember. A bunch of armor and max HP. Some more, lot more commons. Don't need to look at the commons. We can actually just straight up sell those. Let's take a look and see how much XP our cube is going to get. Now, there are going to be a couple final choices as far as how to spend the runes. There are some cube XP runes that I could start thinking about, I think, at this point. I'll bet you this is going to give quite a bit. Okay, not as much as maybe I was thinking. By the way, with these uncommons and rares, I've been kind of saving in the stash uncommons next to the rares just to kind of show off sort of the differences when you have the same, like a Fate helmet and a Fate helmet, but uncommon and rare, just to see how different the mods are that you can get on those. All right, a coral piece. Nothing too crazy there, I think. All right, and then, ooh, 2 more rows. Okay, we've got an immortal grade. Ooh, a decoration material. I don't think I've ever seen an immortal grade decoration material that I can remember, at least. A weapon will give 11 to 13% increased attack speed. Armor will give 17 to 20 increased max HP, which is absolutely gigantic. And accessory decoration effect is HP regen 3 to 4, which is probably really strong also, to be honest. Uncommon scepter, 100 attack damage. Okay, this is actually better than the one that we're using on the priest right now. I guess I should have put a decoration slot on that rune scepter. Total of 96, this is 106. I guess the rare is a little bit better. A minor topaz. I think we've got a few of those. And okay, a legendary boots. I think this is our first... Wait a second. Okay, a level 40 legendary. Currently got level 30 legendary. Okay, it's going to be 116 armor, a huge movement speed increase, and max HP. So I think we can go ahead and chuck that onto sorcerer. It looks good. Big movement speed buff there. And go ahead and sell the rest of the stuff that we don't need here. Some tiny chance I might want to keep a couple of these other things around, so might stash some of that stuff, and that'll basically be it for now. And this is all right. Completely one skill point on the priest completely trivializes this stage, and once we get the rest of these skill points, are you kidding me? Plus 200% to all elemental resistances. I feel like there's what could possibly take the priest down at that point. Now, there could be some chaos damage. That's why we've been saving 2 chaos resistance, I believe, decoration items. Probably fairly rare, I have a feeling. And I also have a feeling may come quite in handy. As I mentioned, I was thinking Maybe at some point there'll be kind of a showstopper stage with a bunch of chaos damage where those will be absolutely crucial. All right, here we go. All right, no big deal at all. 256 seconds, actually pretty good. All right, the core of the abyss. I previously farmed this zone, so we've still actually got a pretty good amount of time left. Oh, taking some damage there, and I think that was lightning. I think that's lightning damage. 34 cold damage and lightning. So there's, yep, so it's all 3 types of elemental resistances. So this is hilarious. If we didn't have the priest leveling up to level 52, what level is this stage at this point? Level 52 stage. So we were basically required to get this. Oof, the priest has taken some serious damage. We were basically required to get that priest up to that point, or there just would have been no way. Okay, things are actually slightly sketchy. And I have a feeling, because of all this elemental damage and because we really need basically one more point to make a zone like this comfortable, I have a feeling one more skill point of that elemental resistance in this stage will probably be no problem. But so far I've been able to get through it just by the skin of my teeth. Might as well go ahead and get a couple more upgrades if I can here. The Ranger's not really got anything left after that point to get of value for kind of speed farming, and the Sorcerer is roughly the same position as well. Everything's pretty well maxed out, and this gives crit damage and cast speed. So either crit damage or basically crit chance. I guess we'll just go crit chance. Oh my gosh, finally got another ruby. I've been waiting for that for so long. All right, you know what? Let's just go ahead and chill and watch this for a little bit. Oof, sketchy again. But this seems like it's gonna do it. And I'm pretty sure after this, I don't think I'm gonna actually consider Zone 3-9 for farming because it's just a little bit too sketchy. So I think I will actually go ahead and do another round of that kind of massive progression run before the end of tonight. There's plenty of time left. It's kind of early evening at this point. So yeah, plenty of time left to do one final long progression. I did not really expect that, but we are cruising right into the end game very quickly. We're still on day 5, right? Very quick, very rapid progress here, I think. And we've managed to save a lot of decorations. So my hope here is we may be able to kind of jump straight from level 40 gear, actually, honestly, to just level 60 gear. If I could get, I think at this point, if I could get all the way to a level 60 zone and farm that, I think I will leave it. The XP, I think we're going to start getting to that point in these idle games where, you know, sooner or later things have to slow down. Otherwise the game just basically wouldn't really keep going. All right, Priest is getting all these super clutch heals. Well, now when we get to the boss, oof, sketchy, clutch heal. All right, this setup is absolutely perfect. My God, I almost have to, like, kind of, I think I will kind of flash on screen again this setup for if anybody's watching this is interested to do some of these runs themselves to know what a good setup would be. We are exactly level 52, exactly in a 52 level stage, and yeah, we just, I think it would have just been, if we hadn't leveled with Priest, if we had Knight and we didn't have access to all res, I just don't think you're getting through this stage. I don't really see many other ways how you could have got through this. Okay, so that pink is going to be lightning damage. I think I did kind of figure that out before because whenever we set up the Priest for speed farming, we actually do a little bit of lightning damage. Boss is coming up, and once we hit the boss, we can actually change this build up a little bit because we can go ahead and swap the Priest over to boosting everybody's DPS. All right, and with that done, I'll bet you any money. Might as well open these chests. Why not? Ooh, a soulstone. Perfect timing. That was the first clear of it, so it's probably guaranteed to give you a soulstone. And we've got some gloves with 10% increased attack speed. Possibly those could be better than the ones that are on there currently. So, okay, that's it. Let's go ahead and I'm not sure if we need this Blessing of Wording or not, so I think we can probably get rid of that. And I don't remember if this boss does elemental damage or not, but I'm not sure if damage absorption is going to matter quite as much specifically for bosses because they do so much damage in one hit. So let's go ahead and do that. And for the boss, we can go ahead and just level up and equip the basically DPS doubler. Unequip that, and then go ahead and do Sanctuary. I think's pretty much always best. And actually will be really good with this skill heal enhancement. And then the rest, I think we'll put it back into max HP. Refund that. I think that should be basically good. I guess we'll pop those back into damage absorption, and that should be good. All right, here we go, everybody. It is time to see, can we kill this boss? I think the DPSers are good enough as is. Let's see what kind of damage this is. I can't remember. Okay, Ranger's down. Ranger's pretty much always down. That's it. That's it. Steam achievement. Clear Nightmare mode for the first time. Done. And on to stage 1-1. Well, we are not going to go yet. We are going to go ahead and farm this boss. We've got, it looks like, I think it's 14 soul cores. Ranger's down. Doesn't even matter. All right. Awesome. When we go back, if I go back to zone 3-9, I think it'll show me. Yep, 13 soul cores. Let's do it again. All right, everybody. I will go ahead and finish off these boss fights, and then we'll kind of speed open all these chests together, 5 at a time. All right, here we go. First batch of 5. These have been typically pretty mega huge upgrades that I've got. Okay, for these first 5, Demon Blood. Nothing crazy. I am going to definitely be hoping for at least one legendary or immortal grade weapon. So far, haven't gotten any, and we can actually go ahead and start looking at these while we're farming the boss a little bit. So first up, we've got a rare level 50 bow for the Ranger. Attack damage is about the same, and then crit chance, so that can be pitched. All right, next we've got a Topaz rare decoration material, very big lightning resistance, and good lightning damage. These are always just good no matter what. This one, I've pretty much always used it. Yep, this is really, really good. In fact, I might kind of keep in mind how good some of these drops are from this 310 boss. And maybe I would actually conceivably go back and do some speed farming for 3-9 just because, like, this uncommon poisonous herb, for example, I'll take pretty much as many of those as I can get, honestly. Let's go back to our priest here. Let's see what we've got here. All right, so we currently have a rare level 40. It's got attack damage, and this is going to give us that cool reduction again. So this will actually probably be used. In fact, I totally screwed up. I meant to be using one of these for those stage clears, but in the end, all that really mattered was having that elemental resistance. Go ahead and queue one more up, and as soon as we're done looking at these, we'll be ready to open up 5 more. Okay, an immortal grade engraving material. The weapon can either get increased AoE. I have a feeling we will be saving this one long term. Either big increased AoE, huge lightning damage, 60 to 80. Let's go ahead and open up 5 more. We'll finish looking at that here in a second. 1. Ooh, a pearl. Okay, we've already seen those. We've got 2 of those already. All right, a void staff rare. We can see 2 pearls. Pearls, I feel very certain, are going to be kind of like a big end game upgrade item. I still have a strong feeling. We've now got 4 of those, and we will not be using them anytime soon because on a weapon you can put huge cooldown reduction. And I'm wondering if kind of like the ultimate speed farming setups might have, you know, like let's say 4 of these. You could get basically, let's say you got 8 rolls of 8 on them, 8, 16, 24, 32 plus. So that'd be 32% reduction. The sorcerer already gets like 30% reduction, 60% reduction. It's pretty massive. All right, now unfortunately, we're not quite getting the luck that we had previously whenever we got an immortal grade sorcerer's weapon as one of the first drops the last time we did our kind of boss farming in Act 3 of normal. That's not happening this time. In fact, we're still using that on sorcerer, a level 30 immortal grade. Okay, have we already looked at the... No, we have not looked at this yet. This was our new batch. Okay, the sorcerer now gets access to a 219 attack damage. Huge buff from 30 to 50. If I could just get a higher rarity. All right, this is the last... I think this is our last boss one. and then we'll start doing some progression here. Let's finish looking at this immortal grade engraving material. Block chance, dodge chance, both absolutely massive, and accessory engraving effect list. Life leech and increased crit chance multiplier. Well, we're gonna be saving that long term, pretty much guaranteed. Go ahead and open up. Ooh, a void iron. I think that lets you craft accessories. Let me see if I'm okay. I'm actually out of soulstone, so that's it. Let's take a quick peek here. Ooh, legendary. Oh man, so not doing great weapons wise. Let's go ahead and start our progression. Open up a random small chest, rune sword. All right, let's go ahead and start our progression of Act 1. So I've kind of zoomed in and kind of showed the big screen of just kind of playing through the game, progressing for quite a while, but I don't think we'll do that this time around because I think this time around, by the way, since we can keep our double DPS, I'm sure we'll be wanting to farm something from Hell difficulty. Welcome to Hell. We were in normal nightmare, now we're in Hell. Let's take a quick peek at the Act 1. Sorry, there's a lot going on. I'm a little all over the place mentally right now because so much stuff's going on. Okay, 53. So we're going to start in a 53 zone. 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59. So we are 59 and then 60 right before the boss of Act 1. So I have a feeling we're going to actually, if we can farm with our current setup 1-9 Cursed Land, I have a feeling that's where we're going to end the night, and I'm not going to worry too much about the experience because I have a feeling it's going to take a while to get to level 60 anyway, and if we do this, we can skip all the way straight forward from level 40 gear to level 60 gear, which I think would be quite worth it. And then that's one of the last, I'm guessing there's probably only level 60, level 70, and level 80 gear is my guess, so. All right, so while everybody's clearing, by the way, do I need to adjust my setup at all? Probably not. Ranger, I think, is basically where the Ranger is going to stay for the foreseeable future. Sorcerer's on that Flame Hydra. Debatably for speed clearing, maybe the Meteor Strike could be better. I was using it for my speed farming before, but for now, maybe we'll just keep that Flame Hydra. And then for the Priest, we probably don't need to keep using... Yeah, Sanctuary is typically pretty bad. We're going so fast. The movement is so fast. I think I will just make one change. I'll switch that Sanctuary back to a heal. So let's make that adjustment there. All right, that should be good, I think. And I won't worry about the rest of this, except that I will get damage absorption back up to +1. And I will go ahead and throw some elemental resistances on just in case. I have to figure out what I want to get rid of here. 10, 18. All right, we'll get rid of armor again. Here, the damage absorption. A lot of max HP. That looks good. All right, we'll stick with that for now. Just a solo heal, get the LA res, and I have a feeling, even with the Sorcerer still on a level 30 weapon, which is kind of insane, but this Ranger just absolutely took off. I wouldn't even mind. Go ahead and I don't know if I need to use... You know, the most efficient thing you could possibly do in this game is basically get a chance to somehow get a huge power up, say on like level 40 gear, and then jump all the way straight to say level 60 gear, for example. And then, you know, just spend a long time farming level 60, and then again skip straight from 70 to, for example, 80 gear. Although I think once we get to level 60 gear, it's fine. We'll do the full level 60 gear up, the full level 70 gear up, and the full level 80 gear up. We're basically at the end of the game. Totally fine, doesn't matter. Alrighty. And this progression is actually going pretty smoothly and pretty quickly. Kind of amazing. I'm still going to call it out. This Sorcerer, this level 30 Sorcerer Immortal, then we got a level 40 Immortal for Ranger. These have been absolutely massive. The legendary level 40 Arrow, these have been just absolutely massive. Boss goes down about 2 seconds. 228 seconds for stage 1-1 is basically faster than some of the stuff we were doing before, I'm pretty sure. Crazy. All right, so we've got a Void Iron. I think we've got quite a bit of progression ahead of us, so I think we can spend a little bit of time still kind of talking through everything. So the Void Iron, and actually maybe go ahead and use some of this stuff. The Void Iron, pretty sure this was the thing that lets you craft an accessory. Let's check from a level 30 to level No, it's still not. I keep getting that confused with something else I get. All right. All right, Fate Helmet. Level 50 Rare Helm. Nothing too crazy to talk about there. Ooh, look at this. An Immortal Grade Diamond Decoration. Weapon Decoration Effect. Oh my gosh. Attack damage plus 15 to 30. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. These things do not grow on trees, these boss drop Immortal Grade decorations. So if you could skip, let's say, against straight from level 40 to level, let's say, a 60 weapon, in the case of the sorcerer may skip from a level 30 to a level 60 weapon. It's looking actually very likely that that will happen. That's super, super efficient, especially because I've learned now, you just don't get that many of these really good engraving and decoration materials. And so, you know, I already popped, 8 basically in one go on the priest, and then however many this is, 8, 9, 10 materials, plus retrying several of them on the ranger. And we were basically out of most of the ones that we used at that point for the ones that are actually like of interest. Let's take a look and see what we get from a common chest here. Random level 50 common, that's kind of what we expected. So you kind of spend everything when you need it to do it, which is exactly what we did. I feel like I've mostly played everything about as pretty optimally. So yeah, that's crazy. You know what? Let's go ahead and see on this sorcerer if it's time to actually upgrade this. Let's check the damage. Oh no, okay, sorry, no, that's an attack 135. Wait, what was I looking at again? Okay, well, oh no, it was this one. Here we go, level 50, 219 attack damage. We lose a huge amount of fire damage percent boosting, but let's just take a look-see. So currently the sorcerer, let's see if we can figure out how much the sorcerer is dealing. It can be a little bit tough. There's so many numbers, it can be hard to actually figure out. If I can figure out how much damage when the fireball goes off, it's too hard to see. So we'll figure out and test on that one. Pearls, Demon Bloods, Diamonds, just in case somebody's watching here, wasn't watching before, the Pearl or needs a, yeah, the cooldown reduction, that was the one that I'm particularly interested. Now we've also got this damage reduction 4 to 5.5%. Similarly, I feel like could be potentially one of the most important things there is, because I'm guessing that's yet another added layer in addition to what's called damage absorption, which is what I've been using on my priest. And we will maybe zoom in on the progression if anything ever happens that's out of the ordinary. But as far as I can tell, all of these stages, zones, acts, whatever, are pretty much identical from one to the next, except the numbers change around a little bit. And we've done a full climb 2 times, so I don't think we need to worry too much about it. And given that we are in hell mode, and given that this first boss is going to take us all the way to level 60, I'm going to go ahead and take a guess and say this is the third and final mode of the game. We're going to get to level 60 at this boss, we're going to get to level 70 at the next boss, and we're going to get to level 80 at the final boss. That is my guess. Or maybe we'll get to 65 and then 70 at the very final boss. And, man, that was easy. Trivial. Ooh, what is this? A level 50 common grade tome. If that had been uncommon, it might have been something we could have used. We don't drop a ton of tomes all the time, especially high rarity ones. Alrighty. Alright, let's get some other stuff. Okay, we've got Sapphire Earrings, 12% increased skill duration, and 22% crit damage. I still haven't really figured out a great use for that particular item. Oh my gosh, we've got damage reduction on an Emerald Bracer. That is probably going to be worth using, I have a strong feeling. I'm guessing this damage reduction, I have a strong feeling, is basically just, again, in addition, it's probably like a second layer after or before damage absorption. So this is probably going to be just a straight up 5% less damage. So this is probably going to equate to another something like 1 or 2 points of damage that we just don't take. Very likely going to go on our priestess, but 3 HP regen per second, nothing to necessarily sneeze at. Not terrible. So we'll end up testing that if we get to a stage we need to actually try that out on. Okay, Mystic Bow, we'll take a quick peek at, or maybe we already peeked at this one. It was a 152 versus 164, so that one we could just safely get rid of. We're gonna have plenty of loot today. I think we can safely, wow, it's basically 100k gold just for that by itself. Level 40 versus level 50. This has basically no use at this point. The Scepter we are gonna hold on to. And then there was the question on the Void Staff. And we'll get rid of a couple of these commons here. 50,000 gold just for that. We got almost 3 million gold. I think we can probably safely hold on to gold for a minute until we kind of strategize a little bit here. I think I can probably go ahead and safely get rid of some of these kind of generic things we've got here. This 42 movement speed is outdated at this point. I was thinking maybe try to grab a legendary with a bunch of level 40s. You know what? Let's go ahead and take a look and see. If I do all level 40s, I can't remember. I think I did try this already, but on the synthesis, if I go level 20 to level 40 on the synthesis, and I do, not a level 30, all level 40s. Let's throw a couple level 50s in. What? Ah! Oops. Oops. Alright, what does it say? Still, synthesis result ranges from 30 to 40. I don't think that's good enough yet. We'll probably very soon get to the point where we will only be doing synthesis, but I don't think we need to do it yet. So we can just sell this stuff until we're basically got all the gold we need to finish out all of our runes, which we're actually, I feel like, getting pretty close to where we basically don't really need to mess with runes anymore. So all these bows can be sold. All right, boss coming up. Wow. The Ranger crit and almost one-shot that boss. Crazy. Oh, and I didn't look at this either. Emerald Bracer, an uncommon bracer, dodge chance 4.5%. That actually is probably better than a lot of the ones we have as well. These poisonous herbs, huge. 2 that we got today, that's pretty sick. For these earrings, the 3.6% increased experience gain, we're definitely going to be holding on to. Then we've got this crit damage 16. Is increased skill duration and crit damage better than... Well, it is because it's higher crit damage. We had already put the 13% increased attack damage on that one. So I guess that one will get upgraded for the Ranger. So what I've been kind of doing is I've been kind of putting things that I will upgrade kind of more towards the sort of top right or kind of top right edge of the screen. Get rid of that stone. We definitely don't need that. I'll just chuck these here. I'm not haven't really quite decided what I'm going to do with these yet, use them or not. And we've just about got everything sorted out in our inventory here. Not quite, though. So, for example, I was keeping these rare level 30 gloves. These rare level 50 gloves are just straight up more attack speed, but they don't have an empty decoration slot, so I think these would be better just in the off chance that we would actually want to have gloves with attack speed for some reason. We can just hold on to these rare ones. Get rid of that common. Given that we're going to be getting level 60 gear pretty soon, I think any kind of generic level 50 armor, rare, uncommon, whatever, that doesn't have something interesting about it, like maybe helping out DPS or something, can pretty easily be sold. We've got a lot of extra bronze ingots at this point. Go ahead and do a little crafting with those. Level 30 to 40. Hand weapon uses the other one. So armor uses the green. So what kind of armor are we looking for right now? Let's take a look at our priest. Our helm is very outdated, level 15. Gloves are also very dated. We've got good chests. We've got 2 legendaries. We've got a bunch of good boots. So it's going to be either helm or gloves, I think. Which one would be? Maybe helm. Cooldown reduction? Cooldown reduction would be good, I think. Let's craft a couple helms. Level 30 to 40. Increase skill range. We're going to craft a few here. Increase skill range. Increase skill range. Okay, level 40. We've seen a few of those. And we're out of those ingots. Got one of these, which I don't think we need. We can mostly alch some of this stuff. Would increased skill range be useful? I don't know. Oops. I always get confused whether the thing's going to go to the stash or the cube. All right, we got a boss coming up. I think that boss was basically kind of one-shot. Okay, Ogum Village from PoE 2 we're entering now. It's so crazy how easy Stage 1-1 is. Mostly, I think, because there's not a lot of elemental damage, but now that I'm looking at the screen, maybe Ogum Village... Ooh, yeah, there's little mini fireballs dealing 50 damage, but it doesn't look like it's going to be anywhere nearly enough for it to actually really matter or make any difference whatsoever. Got a random stone. Let's get rid of that. What is that, level 20 to 30? No, it's level 10 to 20. Keep doing helms, I guess. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Still no challenge so far. No big deal. So we're going to take this time. You can kind of watch my kind of general stuff I've kind of do behind the scenes, but I don't do so much of the stuff I'm doing now because I like to still, again, show it off. Again, now that we've had enough stuff, done enough progression in the past, we can take multitask if anybody wants to see what it's like progressing through these later stages. These are probably some of the last stages, I'm kind of having a feeling. We'll see, but that's my sense right now. All right, we're already into a level 57 stage. We are not that far away from already getting to those level 60 stages, which is going to be pretty epic to go ahead and start farming that. We're actually going to get a few hours of level 60 stage farming tonight, it looks like, which is going to be pretty wild. All right, this movement speed 42 boots is outdated at this point. We're not going to need that. Level 50 gloves. This has got 2 damage absorption. Maybe these could be good. Level 50 pair of gloves could possibly be good enough. All right, everybody. So on the screen, you are looking at about a day's worth plus a bunch of soul stones of farmed stuff. It's pretty good, I would say. Pretty good. Especially some of these are still quite valuable. I think these herbs, these uncommon double poisonous herbs, are either going to give likely damage absorption or movement speed. I think those are super valuable. A lot of very valuable. Topaz, very valuable. A lot of this stuff is very valuable. Obviously, we've got these kind of GG things here as well. These immortal grade decorations and stuff like that. So I will go ahead and shift a little bit around in my stash, like these iron ingots, for example. Some of these less interesting tidbits, if we've got some space in some of our old stashes, go ahead and throw those in there. All right, with that, this has been largely what we got today. Comet Staff, level 40, Sorcerer, Legendary Staff was not as good as the one that we have, I think. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't even know if we tested some of those. But again, it was the elemental resistance was the only thing that mattered. So, all right, here we go. 1-5. Once we get to... we'll see what happens here. I'm kind of ready to take a break here. But I think we're not too far away from a zone where we can go ahead and safely stop. So we'll just go ahead and see it all the way through and then take a break for a while. We'll check and see. Well, what we'll go ahead and do is we'll actually go ahead and get a little bit of an accounting, I think, of how much XP per hour we're going to be getting from a couple of these zones so we can figure out where we're going to end things for tonight. I have a feeling what's going to happen is we're going to have the exact same thing happen today as what happened yesterday, and we're going to end up ending basically in Act 2, and I think it was 2-7. That's right before where the huge elemental damage was being dealt. And since Sorcerer right now, is stuck at level 52 for a while, I'll bet you it's going to take a few more points of that to be able to progress through some more of the nastier elemental zones yet again. I'm sure it'll be some zone with some elemental damage, is my guess. But yeah, it's amazing how well things are going, how much damage that Ranger is doing. That Ranger is just feeling kind of OP, to be honest. The Ranger still even had a few slots that I still hadn't even used. Armor slots, obviously, which I can never figure out what to do with for the DPSers, but it's still an engraving slot on that weapon that I didn't even use, because now we're going to start farming level 60s, and will not be surprised at all to see myself get some kind of a level 60 drop that will replace that bow. We are moving right into the end game, everybody. I do kind of hope that since we've progressed so far through so many zones, yet again, we're going to be like 10 levels under-leveled again. I do hope that we will be able to find some zone that will give a pretty significant boost to our XP per hour so that we don't have to wait potentially multiple days just to get to, like, for example, level 60. It may take like a full day or two just to get to level 60 from here. It'd be kind of nice if we could just hit that tomorrow in a reasonable pace. And then if the game wants to slow, another day or two for 60 to 70, it's totally fine. I don't care. And even if we have to wait another day or two for level 60, it's all right with me. We've progressed a lot faster than I actually thought we were going to be able to. So I feel like the game actually has pretty good pacing, honestly, which is why I've actually spent a lot more time on it than I was really expecting. I was kind of expecting these videos to be a lot shorter and not do so much per day, just kind of have a fun little thing to spend a little time on per day, but ended up actually sucking up quite a bit of my time, and which I cannot sustain pretty much any longer after today, so we'll definitely start having some shorter vids. But we're also, given that I'm guessing this hell difficulty is where things kind of end, I don't think we're going to have a choice one way or another, because there's not going to be any progression left. So this is probably the last, I think this is likely to be the last big progression video we're going to have here. In fact, I think we're going to have to split day 5 up again into 2 parts. So you know what I think we'll do? I think we're going to end part 1 when we get to Zone 19, Stage 19. That's where we're going to end Day 5, Part 1, and then we'll do a short video of Part 2 of trying to beat the Hell Act 1 boss. Let's see what happens. Actually, I think the music is also not too bad in this game. And yeah, still the visuals. All the visuals are it's very consistent in the quality of the visuals. Like, they're all good or pretty good or solid. There's not really any visuals that are really like kind of out of place or bad. Like, even this little Act 1 map is pretty good looking. I'm sure there was a lot of AI used in the creation of all this stuff, but AI is going to be used in the creation of everything from now on. So I don't really personally have anything against it. I don't think it matters. I mean, if the quality's the same, and I can understand some arguments, obviously people are not going to be happy about losing their jobs in mass, that's for sure. So that's something I'll have to get figured out. All right, let's see how fast this boss goes down. Wow, dealing 153 damage in one swipe. Goes down, no problem. I'm going to get a quick drink of water as we enter this city outskirts. I'm assuming this is just going to continue to be smooth progression here, and we've already seen all this stuff, so I'll be right back, actually. Very good. Oh, these stages, the progression takes a long time to get all the way through. We spent a long time just progressing through kind of easy Act 1 stages. Sorry about that, but needed to hydrate a little bit there. Hope everybody's doing okay and having a decent day at least. Life can, of course, be hard and difficult for everyone, probably at various points. No matter how privileged or unprivileged you are, everyone's probably going to get hit with some level of difficulty sooner or later in life, and obviously some more than others. Hope everyone's doing all right. Maybe now's a good time to go off topic a little bit here as we progress. I'm actually pretty optimistic about this whole AI mass job loss thing. Not in the short term, I'm not optimistic about it. I think there's going to be a lot of pain in the near term, especially since I feel like it takes a while for people to gather the political will to get good things to happen whenever there's massive shifts like this that can so easily take advantage of people and cause lots of problems. But in the long term, I'm actually pretty optimistic about it. One of the reasons is because I think that humanity can start shifting a lot of human labor towards things like helping people who are really suffering. If you think about, for example, the number of people that are homeless with mental health problems, if you think about things like people that suffer from rare diseases, some of which are quite brutal, intensely brutal. In fact, I've been on a little bit of a kick recently while I eat, watching a lot of documentaries about people with all sorts of different abnormalities. Some people freakishly smart, some people freakishly can't remember anything, some people remember everything, and a lot of kind of rare diseases. Oh, here we go. We're okay. 1-7. 1-7. Priest was getting a little low there for a second, but only for a second, and everything else has been pretty trivial, it looks like, so I guess it's not going to matter in the end. And yeah, dinner tonight, I can only watch a video for a couple of minutes. I'll try again late. I will watch it eventually, but it's about somebody who, according to the YouTube documentary, suffers from potentially the most miserable disease on the planet, where your skin is basically falling apart at all times. So you're pretty much always covered in sores and wounds, and probably pretty intense, pretty extreme pain. I'm not sure if I would agree that's the worst I've encountered and read about and experienced some things myself, nothing at that level, but having some, if you have, for example, some nerve issues, that can be pretty brutal as well. But regardless, one way or another, you know, I think with if people were to be able to, you know, suddenly nobody has to work, quote unquote, which I don't think will ever actually happen. I mean, maybe we'll get to a point where it's optional, but I think the general majority of people will find something to do, and I think it'll be related to basically human suffering. And there's all these rare diseases out there where, you know, it's kind of like nobody's got time to deal with these things right now. Obviously, some people have time. There's always a couple people, always a few researchers at various universities for a lot of different illnesses and diseases, but there's so many rare illnesses and diseases that only a few suffer from, that it's kind of like people basically make the determination, well, it's just not really worth humanity's time to focus a lot of energy and effort on these because there's other more pressing matters. Well, as we get to a point where we're able to deal much more efficiently And easily with those more pressing matters, we can start going to the less pressing matters that are still equally important or even more important for, you know, a smaller number of people. Some people are really suffering again out there. So I imagine, maybe this is kind of crazy, but I kind of imagine a world where labor starts shifting more towards things like helping homeless people, helping people that have, for example, autism or Down syndrome. They, you know, need a little bit extra help. Actually, some of them need a lot of extra help, or even almost like a kind of permanent care in a lot of cases, because they're like totally disabled. They need a lot of help. But that's maybe not necessarily the most high on the radar thing right now. Even some people that are autistic, you know, they kind of struggle socially. They kind of need people who are just, will help just hang out with them sometimes. Maybe they struggle to make friends. Maybe they just need somebody to spend a little time as kind of a favor. I mean, as sad as that sounds, I don't know if this is totally accurate or not. Maybe I'm totally off on this, but I actually watched a great show called Love on the Spectrum recently on Netflix. Couldn't stop watching it. I thought it was amazing. It's an incredible show. Every emotion you can experience pretty intensely, and just really interesting and fascinating. Learned a lot from it. And obviously it is a spectrum, and people are at all different levels, and for some people it's not really so much of a disability. For some people it's a major disability. But they could all kind of use a little extra help, I would say. I think that's pretty fair and reasonable to say. Pretty much everybody who has some form of autism could probably use a little extra help. And these are the kind of things that I feel like humanity can do more of, this kind of stuff. Or we can all just sit and do taskbar hero let's plays, which is pretty much the polar opposite of that, and probably a total waste of time, but there's some amount of enjoyment in it, and you do learn, think about different efficiencies, optimization strategies, and enjoyment is not the worst thing in the world to get some leisure time in. I should probably spend more time doing some of the things I'm talking about versus doing what I'm doing right now, but well, I'll get that all figured out another day, I think, after I get a good night's sleep. And but I do kind of like doing these Let's Plays, so I think I will stick with this one. It's always nice to have one game or two to play at least a little bit every day and have as kind of a recreational activity. So, all right, everybody, we are going to be wrapping up what's going to end up being part 1 for day 5, because this is going to be another crazy day of Taskbar Hero where we're going to make huge progress. We are almost to Zone 1-9, which is going to be our first level 60 zone stage, and we will sit there for a while and farm. And I'll check and make sure the XP is not completely horrible. I don't think it will be completely horrible. And then I think we'll hang out there for a while, and then we'll do a little bit of a kind of quick ending part 2 for the day where we challenge the Act 1 boss. So consider subscribing and sticking around for that if you want to see that. And then we will start gathering some level 60 gear on our way towards level 60. Ooh, stage treasure chest, a final one. A Fate helmet, that doesn't do anything. All right, as long as we can beat this zone, then we will leave things as is and do some farming here. I don't think there's almost any elemental damage. I mean, I'm actually going to watch this zone a little bit just to make sure things are looking good for leaving things alone for some farming here. Everything's looking good so far. Go ahead. I'll call this stuff, aside from the decoration, which we'll save. Easy peasy so far. I will show on the runes one thing I have started doing. So the character strengths up basically finished or nearly finished. The XP gain, I'm guessing, is probably getting close to finished. But there was this whole kind of almost unexplored area of these chests, and I had taken almost none of these. There was all these super cheap ones that left of increasing the chance of getting like a stage boss or just a common chest. We've got 4 million gold. These are 170 a piece stage boss chests. Maxed out. Get some more stage boss chests. This one's 250k for stage boss chests. Common chests. 170 versus 250. Oh. Let's get some common chests. Let's get some... Oh, hold on. Stage boss chest max capacity +1. Likely useful for overnight. 5% increased common chest. 850 now for stage boss chest and 1 million. So I'm going to be spending a lot of points over here. Even these inventory slots are really cheap. So I'm going to start spending a lot more time over in this area doing this stuff. Capacity won't matter too much, but for overnight, it could actually matter now. And I'm pretty sure I just basically doubled my chances of getting all these chests. So I have a feeling we're going to start getting a lot more items than we were before. And I, of course, probably shouldn't have abandoned that part of the rune tree. What do we want to call it? Whatever. And I'm actually kind of thinking that we're almost kind of done with runes, which, again, wouldn't surprise me. We're basically at the end game. This character section, if this Rune of the Gale, which there's only 1 out of 1 level for 5 million, if that doesn't go anywhere, then we've finished that whole branch. We finished this whole branch down here. This whole area is finished. We finished a lot of stuff. This upper area, I'm guessing, is getting close to finished as well. This costs 50 million, level 1 out of 1. I bet these probably don't go anywhere. They're red when they start out. They probably don't go anywhere. So gold is actually not going to really do anything pretty soon, actually, also. So I don't know that I really need to invest in a bunch of really any more gold gain at this point, because I don't think it's going to really do anything anymore. Common treasure chest. This is a level 60 zone. We're going to get to go ahead and start looking at some level 60 gear very soon, I think. Coral piece. Uncommon grade decoration material. Got quite a few of those up to this point, I think. We don't really have anywhere near enough immortal grade stuff to really get much use out of a lot of these engraving things at this point. So here comes the boss, and once we beat this boss, that'll be the end of day 5 part 1. It's been a long one. A lot longer than I thought. I thought this was going to be totally chill, but nope. As always, we're going a lot farther than expected at the start of the day, and once again spending quite a bit more time than I thought. Soon to come to an end. We're going to definitely have some very slow farming days, short videos just showing all the loot and doing a little loot management and kind of speeding through, making more efficient, kind of wrapping up the game, finishing up the game. Oh, by the way, I did see on Steam this Steam trade ship thing on the top left. Just today, they had some kind of announcement that that's going to be coming back. Ever since I started the game, when you click it, it basically just says it's unavailable. I think they said it's coming out on Thursday. It's currently Tuesday, so in 2 days. Right in time for us to get to the end game, so that works for me. So we'll have kind of gotten to play the game kind of as intended, maybe you could say, or on hard mode, maybe you could say, I don't know. All right, here we go. As long as this goes pretty easily. Oh, okay, not as easily as I might have expected. I guarantee this is going to be a soul stone, and we will go ahead and wrap up the video there. This is a Hell Soulstone. Soulstone Hell Beyond Grade. Whoa, I don't think we've ever seen that before. Beyond Grade Soulstone. Material required to summon Hell difficulty bosses. It is worth 100,000 gold. We will be not selling that. We will be using that. We have to use it on the next boss that we will try fighting in the next video. All right. Have a good one, everybody.